Hi everyone, a very pleasant good morning. My dear students, please confirm whether I am audible to you or not. Students, please confirm. Hi. Hi Yashwant and Siri Properties, Palla, Cricket Lover, Shiva Vlog,
Students,
Prashant, Prashant Kumar, Scientist, All in One, Teja Yadav, Vedantu Student. Hi. Good morning.
Yashwant.
Very good morning. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation, my dear students. Hello, Maddie Gaming. Study Corner. Hi. Yes, Vedantu student. Thank you for the confirmation, ma. Yeah. Actually, here where I am, the place is very rainy. Heavy. It started heavy rain, and there was a sudden overall power cut. This is the reason we have reached 20 or 25 minutes late. Okay, let's begin the session with a beautiful quote. Okay, time is slow when we wait for it. Time is fast when we are late. Time is short when we are happy. Time seems to be endless when we are in pain. So be careful, my dear students, how we should spend it, because time is a currency. Okay, if once spent, it can't come back. So we have to utilize the time properly. Yes, good morning. Bulletin news. Hi, Vishnupriya, Jayant, Maddie. Good morning for everyone once again. And first, let's discuss about the blueprint of today's session. There will be 4 sessions, ma. First session, there may be MCQs, blanks, matchings, and diagram based questions. And in the second session, there will be very short answers which you need to attempt all. Each one carries 2 marks. And the third one is short answer questions. You need to attempt 5, and each one carries 4 marks. And the fourth session, very long answer questions. You need to attempt 3. There will be internal choice for them. So total you need to attempt for 50 marks. This will be the pattern. Okay. In this, the first session, MCQs, or he may ask us a bit, he may give a diagram and he may ask the questions from that, and very short answers. And only we are having 2 chapters in 9th, right? The fundamental unit of life, and the second one is tissues. Okay, ma, okay. Okay, CP Reddy, thank you, thank you. Yes, Vedantu is very useful for the students. Yes, bulletin news. I have some doubts in NSE. Okay, okay. Yes, 3 questions only. But there will be internal choice. It may be case based question will be. He may give a diagram and ask the questions. He may give a passage and ask the questions. He may give the differences questions. He may give a activity based question. Okay, 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 Shiva, let's do it. Let's do it. But as today we have the essay exam, we will only discuss about that. Yeah, it is for AP students only, ma. Lucky Art Academy. It's only for AP as they are having the SA-1 exam, na, today. We have the Bio SA-1 exam, right? So we are discussing the 9th class syllabus. Actually, yesterday ma'am has I took a session for 10 students, na? Yeah. Yeah, there are 3 important diagrams overall from the 2 chapters like plant cell, animal cell, and neuron, chloroplast, mitochondria. Yeah. Okay. This is the mind map of the first lesson, that is the fundamental unit of life. What is the fundamental unit of life? Cell is the basic structural and fundamental unit of life. Why we call it? Because it is the basic thing which is made in the human beings as well as plants, and all the living things are made up of these cells only. And the structure for the organisms are given by these cells, and the functions are based on these cells only. Yes. So these cells based on the number of cells, you can see here, these are divided into 2 types. Like if the cells are single, we call them as unicellular. Uni means one, made up of only one cell. Examples, amoeba, paramecium are some of the examples. With the help of that one cell only, the organism is able to survive. All the life processes happens within the one cell. And coming to the second one is multicellular. So if the organism is having more than one cell, we term it as multicellular. Example for multicellular are plants, animals, human beings. And we know we all are made up of cell, and the group of cells are called as tissues, and the group of tissues make group of organs make organ system. All the organ system together makes the organism. So as we have different types of systems, we have different types of cells. To do each system does a different kind of function, like respiratory system, excretory system, reproductive system. There are different types of systems. So based on the number of the cells are of how many types? 2 types, unicellular and multicellular. And based on the presence and absence of nucleus, as we all have known that cell is made up of different parts. Among them is nucleus, which is known as the control unit of the cell. It is the control unit. With the presence of nucleus, the cell is termed as eukaryotic cell. Eu means true. Having true nucleus, the cells which have the true nucleus, they will have the nuclear membrane bounded organelles within them. Nucleus is present and other organelles with membrane is present in the eukaryotic cells, the cells which have nucleus, and the cells which do not have or not well developed nucleus we termed as prokaryotic cells. We can take the example of prokaryotic cell, a bacterial cell. So there will be no nucleus, or nucleus is not well developed, and the chromosomes composed of nucleic acid like DNA. Nuclear membrane is absent. Cell organelles with membrane bound are absent. It is also a very, very important question. He may ask the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. He may ask the difference between unicellular and multicellular organisms. Okay. So, number ni patti two types untayi, unicellular and multicellular. Presence and absence of nucleus ni batti cells two types untayi, prokaryotic, eukaryotic. And let's go to the history of the cell. Who discovered the cell? Who discovered the cell, my dear students? Who are going to answer the first? Let's see. Very, very basic important question. He may ask for 1 mark or 2 marks also. Yes, aesthetic Anna. Hi, good morning. I have asked you something. Who discovered the cell and when was it discovered? Where it is discovered? The questions. Very good, Pavan. Pavan has given an answer. Yeah, Ashwan, study corner. Robert Hooke. Very good. Robert Hooke was the person who discovered the cell in the year 1665. But the thing is, the cell which he discovered is a dead cell. Robert Hooke was the first person who discovered the cell in the year 1665. He discovered in the oak tree. But తను చూసినప్పుడు ఎలా ఉన్నాయి? Cells are like honeycomb like structure with many spaces in them. He found many spaces and he named it as a cell because in Latin, cell means little room. So how the cell appeared? Yes, in the cork slices of the dead cell of the oak tree. Yes, Benny Vlogs Gaming. Yes, ma. But these cells are dead cells. But who discovered the first living cells? Can you? Who discovered the first living cell? Robert Hooke discovered the first cell, but they are the dead cells. He discovered in the year 1665 in the oak tree, the corks of the cell which resembles like honeycomb like structure. We can compare these cells to the bricks of a wall, as small bricks are made into the large wall like structure. In the same way, మన బాడీ కూడా చిన్న బ్రిక్స్ తో పాటు ఎలా అయితే ఒక పెద్ద గోడ కడతారో అలానే మన బాడీలో కూడా ఈ సెల్స్ అన్ని కూడా ఒక్కొక్కటి కలిపి ఒక ఆర్గానిజం ని ఫామ్ చేస్తుంది. Yes, Robert Brown. No, not Robert Brown. Yes, Pavan. Study corner. Leeuwenhoek. Yes, Anthony Leeuwenhoek is the right answer. He was the first person who discovered the living cell in a drop of pond water. He saw living creatures and he first named them as animalcules. Later, we have come to know about the living creatures. Yes. So, Robert, and who told about Robert Brown? Please remember, Robert Brown discovered nucleus in the cell. Okay? Cell was discovered by Robert Hooke. But the nucleus which is present inside the cell was discovered by Robert Brown. So generally we draw the nucleus in black color, right? So you can remember with a simple trick. ఒక చిన్న trick తో రాబర్ట్ హూక్ రాబర్ట్ బ్రౌన్ కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవ్వకుండా ఎలా రాయొచ్చు? బ్రౌన్ బ్లాక్ అని కొనుక్కున్నారు. ఎవరు ఆ బ్లాక్? న్యూక్లియస్. అండ్ we call it as the control unit of the cell. Okay? Yeah, Benny Vlogs. The upcoming sessions. Yes. Next. And this is about the history of the cell. Let's see the basic structure of the cell. We know cell have this layer, outer layer. We call it as cell membrane. And as just we have discussed, the innermost middle part which is black in color is nucleus and the third part is cytoplasm. So, cell membrane is the outer layer of the cell, nucleus is the middle layer which is dark in color, which is also known as control unit, and cytoplasm is the jelly-like substance fluid present inside between the cell membrane and the nucleus. What is present in the cytoplasm? In cytoplasm, many organelles, many organisms are floating in them. We call them as cell organelles. Let's know about different types of cell organelles and their functions. Next, we will discuss about the smallest cell. The smallest cell is seen in the bacteria. The bacterial cell is the smallest cell and it is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers. And the largest cell is the egg of an ostrich. Hi. Good morning. My name is Karimunnisa. You can call me as KB ma'am because somewhat it is difficult. Let's learn about different cell organelles. So till now we have discussed about what is the basic unit of the organism, that is the cell. It is the structural and functional unit. Based on the number of cells, two types untundi, unicellular and multicellular. Presence of the nucleus and absence of the nucleus ni patti kuda two types untundi, like eukaryotic cell and prokaryotic cells. And these cells are of different sizes, shapes. Some are round shape, some are spherical shape, some are long branched cells, some cells are spindle shaped, some are elongated. So based on the shape also, cells are of different sizes and shapes. All the cells are not same. Yes. Let's have a look on cell organelles. Here are some of the cell organelles, like we can see the first one, endoplasmic reticulum. ER. This endoplasmic reticulum is of two types again, smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is manufactured or they synthesize the lipids, whereas rough endoplasmic reticulum manufactures the ribosomes. And the important parts that are present in endoplasmic reticulum are cristae, vessels and tubules. Let's move toward the second part, like Golgi apparatus. It was discovered by the Camillo Golgi. Chameleon Golgi. And what is the function of Golgi apparatus? Storage, processing and packing for various cellular secretions. Store చేస్తుంది, pack చేస్తుంది, different organelles ki store చేసి pack చేసిన వాటిని transport చేస్తుంది అన్నమాట. So we can call it as traffic police of the cell. Golgi apparatus can be called as traffic police of the cell. Coming to the third one, lysosomes. Very important question. Okay, he may ask what happens if lysosomes are not there. Why are lysosomes called suicidal bags of the cell? They are called as suicidal bags of the cell because they have an enzyme which will destroy or kill the substances which are harmful to the cell. So we call them as suicidal bags of the cell. Lysosomes are known as suicidal bags. They are present only in the animal cells. Animal cells lo maatrame kanipistundi. Yeah, I will explain one by one. Next one is mitochondria. Mitochondria are called as powerhouses of the cell. What is the function of mitochondria? They are the site for cellular respiration. Yes. They are the site for cellular respiration. Mitochondria is also known as powerhouses of the cell. He will ask, he won't ask directly, describe the mitochondria. He will ask what are called as powerhouses of the cell. Mitochondria are known as powerhouses of the cell. They helps in the cellular respiration. They generate or produce the energy. They store these in the form of ATP. Can anyone tell me what is the full form of ATP? Full form of ATP. ATP. Yes, I am waiting for your answers, my dear children. Yes, very good. Adenosine triphosphate is the correct answer. Yes, the Chris Crown, cricket lovers, study corner, Siva, Krishna Yadav, Madhu, Pavan, everyone has given the good answers. Impressive. So they stored energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and they have their own DNA and ribosomes. Next, when we see the structure of the mitochondria, we can see some structures like this called as grana, and the liquid portion in it is also known as stroma. Grana and stroma are the main parts, and it is having outer membrane and inner membrane. It has its own DNA and ribosomes. Next, coming to the next cell organelle, that is the plastids. Plastids are of three types, like chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. Their function is related to photosynthesis. As we know, chloroplasts are all green in color, present in the tender leaves or green tender stems and green part of the plant, which helps in the preparation of food in the process of photosynthesis. Chromoplasts are the colored pigments, colored structures present in different parts of the plant, like colorful petals of a flower, fruits, seeds. And leucoplasts are the colorless part of the plant which stores the starch. We can find them in the roots, etc. One mark questions చెప్పండి మేడం పవన్. ఎస్ పవన్ చెప్తానమ్మా. 1 మార్క్, 2 మార్క్స్, 4 మార్క్స్, 8 మార్క్స్ అన్ని డిస్కస్ చేద్దాము. నెక్స్ట్ cell organelle is vacuole. We can call it as the storage unit. It stores water, nutrients and waste materials. And coming to this vacuole, the plants have the single large vacuole present in them, whereas animals have very small vacuoles present in number. Many in animals they are more in number, but in plants it is only single vacuole. And 50 to 90% of the volume in the plants is occupied by these vacuoles only. And turgidity and rigidity to the plant cell is given because of the vacuoles. Ribosomes. Ribosomes are the protein synthesizing sites. They are made up of proteins and ribonucleic acid, RNA. Ribonucleic acid. And one more cell organ is centriole. They appears in pairs. They are absent in the plant cell. So these are all the cell organelles that are present in almost all the cells, but except the plastids and lysosomes. Plastids we can see in only plant cells. And also there is an extra layer around the cell. We have discussed about the cell membrane, right? Cell membrane, nucleus, cytoplasm. And for the plant cell there is an extra layer, extra protective layer, and this is called as cell wall. This cell wall and plastids are present only in the plant cell, whereas they are absent in the animal cell. In the same way, lysosomes are present only in the animal cell and absent in the plant cell. Yes. Cell wall gives rigidity to the plant cell. Cell membrane is the protective layer. It helps for the transport of the substance inside the cell and outside the cell. So we also divide this cell as selective permeable membrane, impermeable membrane. So it will send only the substance which are useful inside. So here comes your 1 mark questions or any bits. Can you name the 2 organelles we have studied that contain their own genetic material, my dear students? Let's see how many of you can answer these questions. Can you name the 2 organelles we have studied that contain the genetic material? Waiting for your answers. Two organelles we have studied, they have own genetic materials. Very good, Pavan. Good try. Good try. Still anyone? You have given one right answer and one wrong answer. Yeah, mitochondria is correct. The other one is plastids. Yes, chloroplasts, not the ribosomes. Okay, very good. Where are proteins synthesized inside the cell? Where are proteins synthesized inside the cell? There are many things which they can ask about the cell organelles. They may ask about the functions of the cell organelles. Where are proteins synthesized in the cell? Can I expect an answer from all of you? Yes, my dear students. Yes, ribosomes. Now you do. Very good try. Yes. Can you name the two organelles which contain genetic material, chloroplast and mitochondria? Where are proteins synthesized in the cell? The ribosomes. We have discussed about endoplasmic reticulum is divided into two types like smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum synthesizes the proteins which are attached, which are having the ribosomes. Which organelle is the storage sac of the solid and liquid material? Storage sac. Very good. Endoplasmic reticulum is the right answer. What is the outer layer found in the plant cell? Just now we have discussed, Nana. ఇప్పుడే చెప్పుకున్నాం ఎక్స్ట్రా లేయర్ ఉంటుంది ప్లాంట్స్ కి. Extra layer. What is that extra layer? Protective layer for the plants which supports. Not okay. Storage sac is vacuole. Yes, my dear students. Cell wall. Just now we have discussed. Cell wall is the outermost layer. What are chromosomes made up of? Chromosomes. What are chromosomes made up of? Epidermis. Epidermis. Okay. Outer layer is cell wall. Chromosomes. What are chromosomes made up of, ma? Ever cheptaru? Yes, very good. DNA with proteins. DNA with proteins. Very good. All in one study corner. Good. Next one. Amoeba acquires its food through a process termed. What is the process of taking food in amoeba termed as? Exocytosis, endocytosis, plasmolysis, exocytosis and endocytosis, both. Which acquired food through a process. Amoeba take food through a process called. DNA with protein is correct answer, study corner. Yes, Pavan, you are right, ma. Endocytosis. Cell wall of which one of these is not made up of cellulose? The cell wall of which of these is not made up of cellulose? Bacteria, hydrilla, mango tree, cactus. Is it cactus? No. It's not cactus. It's not hydrilla also. కొంతమంది B, D ఇచ్చారు answers. But the correct answer is bacteria. Bacteria is not made up of cellulose. Whereas all these three are plants. Plants are made up of cellulose. Okay. The answer for this is endocytosis. DNA with proteins. Outer layer, cell wall, storage sac, vacuoles. protein synthesized in ribosomes, which have the genetic material mitochondria. Okay, here are some 2 marks questions like who discovered the cell and how? Why is cell called the structural and functional unit of life? Why is plasma membrane called selective permeable membrane? Now am I audible? Please confirm. Okay, thank you. These are the 2 marks questions. Why are lysosomes known as suicidal bags? What would happen if the plasma membrane ruptures or breaks? What would happen to the life of the cell if there was no Golgi apparatus? Which organelle is known as powerhouse of the cell and why we call it as the powerhouse of the cell? Where do lipids and proteins constituting the cell membrane get synthesized? What is osmosis? He may also ask what is diffusion. So these are some of the important 2 marks questions we have discussed. First, if we know the cell organelles, their functions, we can answer such questions like what would happen if plasma membrane ruptures? What happens when the cell membrane ruptures? All the organelles which are present in the membranes comes out and the cell will eventually die. And Golgi apparatus, it is the storage and package system. If there is no Golgi apparatus, yeah, Sivakrishna, it's correct. The organism, the cell will eventually die. Yes, if the organization is, one of the questions will come from the cell organelles. What happens if this organelle is not there? Definitely, if we have to mention the function. Then function ni mention chesi, దీని వల్ల సెల్ అనేది చనిపోతుంది, the cell dies అని చెప్పేసి రాయాలి. Where do lipids and proteins constitute the cell membrane get synthesized? Lipids, proteins ఎక్కడ ఫామ్ అవుతాయి? ఎండోప్లాస్మిక్ రెటిక్యులంలో, SER స్మూత్ ఎండోప్లాస్మిక్ రెటిక్యులంలో లిపిడ్స్, రఫ్ ఎండోప్లాస్మిక్ రెటిక్యులంలో ప్రోటీన్స్. ఆస్మోసిస్ అంటే చెప్పాం కదమ్మా, మూమెంట్ ఆఫ్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ ఆఫ్ ద సాల్వెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ లో కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ టు high concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Diffusion అయితే movement of molecules from high concentration to low concentration. ఇందులో no semi-permeable membrane. So as you have asked hypertonic, hypotonic, isotonic అని. Hypertonic solution లో ఏదైనా సబ్స్టెన్స్ ప్లేస్ చేసినప్పుడు వాటర్ ఆ సెల్ ఆర్గనెల్ నుంచి బయటికి వస్తుంది. So the cell starts shrinking, whereas in hypotonic solution the water enters into the inside the cell, so the organism swells. Hypertonic shrinks, hypotonic the organisms will swell. Isotonic there will be no such change. యామా డయాగ్రామ్స్ ప్లాంట్ సెల్, యానిమల్ సెల్ ఆర్ న్యూరాన్, లేదా వీటిని ఇచ్చేసి పార్ట్స్ ఆర్ సమ్ ఆఫ్ ద క్వశ్చన్ బేస్డ్ కేస్ స్టడీ లాగా కూడా ఇవ్వచ్చు. These can be asked for 4 and 8 marks questions like how is prokaryotic cell from eukaryotic. Differences are important మా ఫస్ట్ లెసన్ లో. prokaryotic కి eukaryotic differences, అలానే ఆస్మోసిస్ డిఫ్యూషన్ కి డిఫరెన్సెస్, ప్లాంట్ సెల్ యానిమల్ సెల్ డిఫరెన్సెస్, ఆల్ ద డిఫరెన్సెస్ ఆర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. డెఫినెట్లీ విల్ గెట్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద differentiation question. Activity based, yes, from the second lesson activity based questions we can expect. Coming to the second lesson, that is the plant tissue. This is the mind map of the plant tissue. Like the plant tissue is of 2 types, like meristematic tissue and permanent tissues. These meristematic tissues are also called as dividing tissues, as they are again divided into 3 types. Yala apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. Permanent tissues are 2 types, simple permanent tissues, complex permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues are parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Coming to the complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissues అంటే one type of tissues ఉంటాయి ఇందులో. కాంప్లెక్స్ టిష్యూస్ అంటే డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ టిష్యూస్ ఉంటాయి. లైక్ జైలంలో చూడండి, మాకు జైలం అండ్ ఫ్లోయం రెండింటిని కలిపి వాస్కులర్ బండిల్స్ కూడా అంటాము, కండక్టివ్ టిష్యూ కూడా అంటాము. జైలంలో మళ్ళీ 4 పార్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి, లైక్ ట్రేకిడ్స్, వెజల్స్, జైలం పారెన్కైమా అండ్ జైలం ఫైబర్స్. అలానే ఫ్లోయంలో సీవ్ ట్యూబ్స్, సీవ్ ఎలిమెంట్స్, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. These are the different types of cells. As they are made up of number of tissues, they are called as complex permanent tissues. Next, this is the mind map of the animal tissue. Yes ma, yes. Like connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. And the biggest one is connective tissue. ఈ కనెక్టివ్ టిష్యూలో మళ్ళీ చాలా టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ టిష్యూస్ ఉన్నాయి. ఎరోలార్ టిష్యూ, ఎడిపోస్ టిష్యూ, లిగమెంట్స్, టెండాన్స్, కార్టిలేజ్, బ్లడ్ అండ్ బోన్స్. We'll discuss about them. Epithelium, epi means upper, above the skin. Okay, epithelial tissue which protects. These are again divided into simple squamous epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated epithelium, cuboidal and glandular based on the structure. Generally, we will ask, tissue is a group of cells. It is a group of cells which have similar in their structure and similar in their functions. Let's go back once. So these are some of the 1 mark or questions, like where is apical meristem found, which tissue make the husk of the coconut, name the tissue responsible for the movement of our body, which of the component of the blood fight infection, in desert plants rate of water loss get reduced due to the presence of cuticle, movement of passage of food in the intestine is caused by the contraction of unstraightened muscles. Name the connective tissue that is found between the skin and muscles, areolar tissue. And when you remember this, you have to remember about the adipose tissue also, fat storing tissue, this or that he may ask. And why is cork impervious to gases and water? Because of a chemical substance called suberin. Now also it is not audible. Cartilage is not found in general. Examples of cartilage aduguతారు, like nose, ears, larynx, which can be foldable anamata, which have very, this is also a type of bone, but which is not as strong as the bones which we have in our hands, legs and body parts. And companion cells are associated with the sieve tubes, which is present in the phloem. Next, name the type of simple tissues. Types of simple tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma are the simple tissues which are made up of a single type of cells. Again, when we discuss about parenchyma, it is also having different types of cells. If they contains air spaces between the parenchyma cells, we call them as arenchyma. అదే parenchyma cells లో chloroplast ఉంటే క్లోరెన్కైమా. parenchyma ఏం చేస్తుంది? స్టోరేజ్, ఫుడ్ ని స్టోర్ చేస్తుంది. Yes, fat storing is adipose. So simple tissue is parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. ఇది ఇలా. అదే 4 marks or 8 marks అడిగితే difference between either parenchyma or collenchyma, parenchyma or sclerenchyma, అలా 8 marks కి 4 marks కి అడిగే ఛాన్సెస్ ఉంటాయి. How many types of elements together make up the xylem tissue? So xylem లో కూడా different types of tissues ఉన్నాయి. Xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma, tracheids, vessels, these are 4. Okay, అలానే phloem లో కూడా అడగొచ్చు. Companion cells, phloem fiber, phloem parenchyma, phloem tube cells, sieve cells, ఇలా. What are the functions of stomata? Very important, Nana. Stomata function. We know exchange of gases ఒకటి, photosynthesis లో కూడా participate చేస్తుంది, and one more, transpiration. What is transpiration? Loss of water from the leaves is known as transpiration. These 3 are important. One is exchange of gases, photosynthesis. It takes part in the photosynthesis. It also helps in the transpiration process. What is the specific function of cardiac muscles? Cardiac muscles అంటే ఎక్కడ ఉంటాయినా, హార్ట్ లో ఉండే మజిల్స్ కార్డియాక్ మజిల్స్. ఓకే, ఆనియన్ రూట్ సెల్స్, లీఫ్ పీల్, ఆస్మోసిస్, ఈ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్స్ అనే యాక్టివిటీ బేస్డ్. వాటర్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్. What is the specific function of cardiac muscles? The muscles that are present in the heart are called cardiac muscles. It pumps blood to all the parts of the body. It shows the rhythmic contraction and relaxation without any fatigue. Throughout the life, the cardiac muscles work. We need to learn how to work hard without taking gaps. ఎలా మేడం? కార్డియాక్ మజిల్స్ ద్వారా ఇది నేర్చుకోవచ్చు అనమాట. ఎలా అయితే అది రెస్ట్ తీసుకుంటే ఏమవుతుంది? ద ఆర్గానిజమ్స్ విల్ డై కదా. సో మనం కూడా అలా హార్డ్ వర్క్ చేయాలి. నెక్స్ట్, నేమ్ ద ఫాలోయింగ్ టిష్యూస్ దట్ ఫార్మ్స్ ద ఇన్నర్ లైనింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద మౌత్. ఇన్నర్ లైనింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద మౌత్. విచ్ టిష్యూస్? Inner lining of the mouth. It never gets fatigued. Yes. Can you name which tissue? Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. Tissue that connect muscles to bones. Very, very important. Muscles to bones. Tendons. Tendons. Tissue that transport food in the plants. మనం ఒక కాంప్లెక్స్ టిష్యూ గురించి నేర్చుకున్నాం కదా, 2 types, xylem and phloem. అందులో ఫుడ్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేసేది. Which transports food is phloem. Tissue that stores the fat. Adipose. Connective tissue with the fluid matrix. Fluid connective tissue. ఇది అందరికి తెలిసే ఉంటుంది కదా, fluid connective tissue. Only tissue which is fluid connective tissue in our body. Very good, Anusha. Yes, Pavan. Pavan is so fastest among all. Good, good. Keep the energy like that. Subhash, phloem. Yes, blood is the fluid connective tissue. Nice. Tissues present in the brain. Brain lo unde tissue emiti? Yes, Sivadurga. Tissues present in the brain. Nerve tissue, Nana. Nerve tissue. Neuron. Yes, nervous tissue or neuron. So, inner lining of the mouth lo unde tissue epithelial. అలానే బోన్స్ అండ్ మజిల్స్ ని కనెక్ట్ చేసే టిష్యూ టెండాన్స్. అలానే ఫ్యాట్ స్టోరింగ్ టిష్యూ ఎడిపోస్. ఫుడ్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేసేది ఫ్లోయం. అలానే వాటర్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేసేది xylem. Connective tissue with fluid matrix is blood. Tissues present in the brain are nerve cells. Next, identify the types of tissues in the following. ఇక్కడ చూడండి అమ్మా, స్కిన్ లో ఏ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ టిష్యూస్ ఉంటాయి? విచ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ టిష్యూ మేడ్ ద స్కిన్? దేర్ ఆర్ ఎపిథీలియంలో కూడా చాలా టైప్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, కాలమ్నార్, క్యూబాయిడల్, స్ట్రాటిఫైడ్, స్క్వామస్, ఇలా. వాటిలో ఏది? బార్క్ ఆఫ్ ద ట్రీస్. ఐఎమ్ ఎక్స్పెక్టింగ్ ఆన్సర్స్ ఫ్రమ్ యూ. బార్క్ ఆఫ్ ద ట్రీస్ ఏ టిష్యూస్ తో చేయబడింది? బోన్స్ ఏ టిష్యూ? Lining of the kidney tubules a tissue. Vascular bundles a tissue. Let's see who will answer these questions. I will be waiting for స్కిన్ లో స్క్వామస్ ఎపిథీలియం, బార్క్ ఆఫ్ ద ట్రీలో ఎపిడర్మిస్ ఉంటుంది. బోన్ ఈజ్ ఎ కనెక్టివ్ టిష్యూ. లైనింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద కిడ్నీ ట్యూబ్యూల్స్ లో క్యూబాయిడల్ ఎపిథీలియల్ టిష్యూ. వాస్కులర్ బండిల్ అనగానే మీకు జైలం అండ్ ఫ్లోయం గుర్తుకు రావాలి. Permanent tissues cannot divide. Yes. Role of epidermis. Epidermis is the upper layer of the leaves, stems. Okay. Protective. They are the protective layer of the plant. They have special cells called guard cells between them. Yes. Meristematic tissues are 3 types, right? Like apical, lateral, intercalary. Apical, root and shoot tips lo untundi. Yes, dividing tissue. Yes, dividing tissue say after the meristematic tissues grows, develops, after it have a permanent shape, then it will be turning into differentiation tissue. Yes, bone to muscles, tendons, bone to bone ligament. ఇది చాలా మంది కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతూ ఉంటారు నాన్న పవన్. యు ఆర్ రైట్. బోన్ టు మజిల్స్ టెండాన్స్ అండ్ బోన్ టు బోన్స్ ligament. సో ద ప్రాసెస్ ఆఫ్ టేకింగ్ అప్ ఎ పర్మనెంట్ షేప్, ఒక పర్మనెంట్ షేప్, పర్మనెంట్ సైజ్ అండ్ ఫంక్షన్ తీసుకుంటే అప్పుడు డిఫరెన్షియేషన్ అంటాం. We call it differentiation. There is a scope of asking how are the permanent cells termed into differentiation. Function of tendon and ligament. Bone to muscle. Bone to bone. Next, difference between cartilage and bone. Let's see these differences. I have given in the next slide. Before that, ఇది చూద్దామమ్మా. Voluntary and involuntary differences కూడా అడగొచ్చు. The organisms which work on their own will are voluntary muscles. So, jumping of a frog, voluntary or involuntary? Jumping of the frog. If it want to move, it can move, or else it won't move. So, it has a choice of to do or not to do kada. Voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary, which works on their own will. Writing, voluntary. Involuntary muscles, they don't stop even when they are sleeping, like pumping of the heart. Involuntary, we can't stop them for a while also. Okay, alane chocolate in the stomach moving ante digestion e kada. Involuntary, which is not under our control, which we can't control it. Mention the functions of nervous tissue. Very important nana. ఇది ఈ డయాగ్రామ్ ఇచ్చి పార్ట్స్ అలానే దాని ఫంక్షన్స్ అడగొచ్చు, లేదా డైరెక్ట్గా నర్వ్ సెల్ న్యూరాన్ని డ్రా చేసి దాన్ని డిస్క్రైబ్ చేయమనైనా అడగొచ్చు. Let's see. Animals of colder region and fishes of the cold water have thick layer of subcutaneous fat. వీటి ఆన్సర్స్ చూద్దామా. ఇక్కడ చూడమ్మా, మెరిస్టమాటిక్ టిష్యూ, పర్మనెంట్ టిష్యూ. యాక్టివ్లీ డివైడింగ్ టిష్యూస్ అంటాము, నాన్ డివైడింగ్ టిష్యూస్. ఫంక్షన్స్ ఏంటి? మెరిస్టమాటిక్ టిష్యూ హెల్ప్స్ ఇన్ ద గ్రోత్. మన రూట్ టిప్స్, షూట్ టిప్స్ లో గ్రోత్ అవుతుంది. ఎపికల్ మెరిస్టెమ్. గిర్త్ ఆఫ్ ద స్టెమ్ కి ఏంటి? గిర్త్ ఆఫ్ ద స్టెమ్ పెరగాలంటే హెల్ప్ చేసేది ఏంటి? Anyone? Apical intercalary and lateral. Intercalary and lateral. వీటిలో ఏది girth of the stem? నోడ్స్ ఇంటర్ నోడ్స్ మధ్య పెరిగేది ఇంటర్కాలరీ మెరిస్టెమ్. నెక్స్ట్ సెల్ వాల్. మెరిస్టమాటిక్ సెల్లో సెల్ వాల్ చాలా థిన్ గా ఉంటుంది, పర్మనెంట్ టిష్యూస్ లో చాలా థిక్ గా ఉంటుంది. మెరిస్టమాటిక్ టిష్యూలో సైటోప్లాజం డెన్స్ గా ఉంటుంది, పర్మనెంట్ టిష్యూలో లెస్ డెన్స్ ఉంటుంది. న్యూక్లియస్ ప్రామినెంట్ పర్టిక్యులర్గా, బట్ పర్మనెంట్ టిష్యూస్లో మే బీ ప్రామినెంట్ ఆర్ మే నాట్ బీ ప్రామినెంట్. వాక్యూల్స్ మెరిస్టమాటిక్ టిష్యూలో ఓన్లీ ఫ్యూ ఆర్ absent, but in permanent tissues they are usually present. Intercellular spaces are absent, means meristematic tissues are compactly arranged, chala దగ్గరగా without cellular space. But permanent tissues lo there will be a little space when compared to the meristematic. Meristematic లో అస్సలు ఉండదు. అలానే టెండాన్స్ కి లిగమెంట్ కి డిఫరెన్సెస్ కూడా చూడండి నాన్న. టెండాన్స్, మజిల్స్ టు ద బోన్స్, లిగమెంట్స్ బోన్ టు ద మజిల్. ప్రైమరీ ఫంక్షన్ ఏంటి? మూమెంట్. లిగమెంట్ ఫంక్షన్ స్టెబిలిటీ. కొలాజిన్ ఈస్ ద ఫైబర్ which is present in both the tendon and ligament. This collagen is arranged parallel in the tendons like this and crisscross in the ligaments like this, crisscross. Next, elasticity is very low in tendons, whereas elasticity is very high in the ligaments. Coming to the difference between cartilage and bone. Cartilage is made up of cells called chondroblast cells. Bones are made up of a special cells called osteoblast. They are embedded in the matrix. Cartilage is flexible and elastic. That is the reason మనం ఇందాక చెప్పుకున్నాం కదా, కార్టిలేజ్ ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఉంటుంది? ఇయర్, నోస్ అని. So cartilage is flexible and elastic. బోన్ అనగానే మనం ఇట్ ఈస్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్ కాల్షియం అండ్ ఫాస్ఫరస్. గుర్తు రావాలి, ఇది 1-2 మార్క్స్ అడిగే ఛాన్స్ కూడా ఉంటుంది. వాట్ ఆర్ బోన్స్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్? దే ఆర్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్ కాల్షియం అండ్ ఫాస్ఫరస్. దే ఆర్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్ ద సెల్స్ కాల్డ్ osteoblast. దే ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ ద బోన్ ఏంటి మమ్? సపోర్ట్ అండ్ దే హెల్ప్ ఇన్ ద మూమెంట్. Coming to the cartilage, they are hard, they are porous, they are rigid with strong framework. And waters hyacinth గురించి చెప్పుకునేటప్పుడు మనం a special type of parenchyma, మనం parenchyma